A massive thank you to Flaming Eyes, Angus, Rajesh, Turbo and Cax for subscribing to the channel. If you're not already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we are here with the finale of Season 3 of our F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back in Abu Dhabi. Of course, if you missed out on the last couple of videos that went live from Brazil, I would highly recommend going back and checking them out. But we have got a title fight on our hands. It all comes down to it here in Marina Bay, of course. There will be spoilers in just a second, but quickly before we jump into that, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the insane and continued support on the channel. We're getting closer and closer to that goal of 100k subs as well, so if you're not already, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed for daily Formula 1 related content. Of course, we already confirmed as well earlier on this week that F1 Manager will be returning, so definitely I would highly recommend going and voting on the poll over on our community tab if you haven't already. And later on today, after this video's gone live, I will also be putting up a vote for who you want to see as our teammate for Season 4 of this career mode. So yeah, like I said, make sure you head over to the community tab on the channel as well and have your say on who will be joining us for Season 4 of the My Team Career Mode. I'll probably be taking about a week away from this series as we jump back into F1 Manager. We'll be doing a bit more with the Haas Road to Glory as well. But yeah, F1 My Team will not be going away for very long at all. But having a look at the then championship permutations as we head into the final race of the season. 12 points between ourselves and Valtteri Bottas in the in the Drivers' Championship there. We basically have to win and hope that Bottas doesn't finish on the podium. If he gets a podium here, it's done. Valtteri Bottas is world champion. We can't do anything about it. Constructors-wise, though, 14 points separate three teams as we head into the finale here in Abu Dhabi. Red Bull have not had the best year, but both their drivers have been very consistent. And of course, Bottas and I fighting for the World Championship as well, as Hamilton, Pourchaire and Zhou Guanyu have struggled a little bit more over the course of the year. I think this is the first time ever that three Formula 1 teams have gone into a championship finale, still with a shot at the Constructors' crown. But we, of course, have come into this with a lot of momentum behind us as well. You know, I think it's 3-1-2s for the team over the last couple of weekends now, so in the last three Grand Prix. Ever since that nightmare at Suzuka, we've done pretty well since then in the dying stages of the campaign. So, yeah, let's wait and see what we can do, though. One final time for Season 3 of the My Team Career Mode. Let me know down in the comments below whether you think it'll be myself or Valtteri Bottas. And let's get into this then. Abu Dhabi weekend. Fingers crossed we can try and walk away with a championship or two. Right, well, here we are then in Abu Dhabi. Final race weekend of the season. It has been such a topsy-turvy year in Formula 1. Early on in the championship, we were just quite consistent, trying to hang on in there. And then, of course, Bottas went on an absolute tear around the summer stretch. Of course, pretty similar fashion to what he did in Season 2 of this career mode. Of course, we've basically then since taken the role of Charles Leclerc, trying to close up that gap towards the end of the campaign. Of course, we've seen the Red Bulls kind of fall to the wayside over the last few weekends there, but they're hanging on in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, they head into this with a 12-point lead, if I'm not mistaken, over ourselves, but it's definitely 2-2 Motorsport that come into this weekend with all the momentum behind us. Of course, 3-1-2s in a row in the last few Grand Prix. Red Bull are really going to have to try and pull something out of their sleeve this weekend if they want to try and take home that Constructors' Championship. I mean, there's a very real possibility they could finish third overall after leading throughout most of the year, but yeah, track climatization lap there, we messed up turn 9, but apart from that, so far it's been okay as we head through the final few corners of this lap. I know I always say it when we come back here, but new Abu Dhabi, I mean, it's so much better than old Abu Dhabi, but it's still not a particularly great racing circuit when all is said and done. But rounding through the final corner, this is probably just going to be the green score. Not far away from purple, though. We'll try and get it. Need to be confident for when we get into qualifying in the race. Round in the final corner this time round, that is going to be purple score, though. So building up the confidence slowly but surely. Let's see what other R&D we can earn. Of course, it wouldn't be a Formula 1 weekend without a ridiculously OP qualifying sim run. So, yeah, for one final time then in Season 3, let's see how wildly inaccurate this is. And if your guess was approximately 2 seconds off the pace, I think you deserve a gold star Around in the final corner then of practice. Oh, that's a little bit ragged there. 2.01 off the pole then. So we are going to qualify P22 here in Abu Dhabi. That's almost a guarantee, so guess we may as well jump into it then and start from the back apparently. And of course it wouldn't be one of my videos in recent weeks if my webcam didn't decide to die halfway through. So apologies, the rest of this is going to have no wheel cam, but hopefully you stick around and it doesn't take away too much from this championship decider. Right, well here we are then, qualifying day from Abu Dhabi, and of course the key is just to try and make it through the early sessions on as few sets of tyres as possible. We made it at Q1 just on a set of mediums, which is often quite a promising sign, to be honest, on this game, that we've got decent pace, especially when you think those medium tyres are at least 6-7 tenths off the faster tyres, and of course it was Q1, so we're not quite warmed into the session either. So as we head out into Q2, we have got the option of doing 2 runs if needed, but maybe we can try and make it through on a single run here as well. It means we can go just 3 all-out laps in the final qualifier session there, as we've got a Ferrari just peeling out of the way down the back straight. Fingers crossed they're not going to hold us up as we slam on the anchors at the 100-metre board. Of course, we almost caught up real life F1 once more in season 3 of this career mode. Of course, yeah, we managed to do 3 seasons in the time it's taken real F1 to do about 10 races later on in the campaign, as Yuki Tsunoda sets the provisional benchmark on a 23.7 there. We're probably going to need low to mid 22s if you want to be making it into Q3 there, as Hamilton, there we go, into those 22s very, very early on there. We're just starting to get maybe a little bit of dirty air from Daniel Ricciardo. Still a few rumours. Whoa, that's not where we want it to be. That it might be his last race for Ferrari this weekend, but nothing confirmed as of yet, as that is, I mean, I don't even know why we're finishing off this qualifying lap. Up to the line. Still somehow at 23.0. I don't quite know how we did that. Well, a minute left on the clock then here on qualifying, and we're just going to have to go out for a second run, as we are in the drop zone at the moment. So is our teammate Lewis Hamilton, so I have got to be pretty careful. But yeah, let's just see what we can do then here in Q2, of course. Even if we just pretty much match the lap that we already did and just don't make a mistake through Sector 3, that should push us right towards the front of the grid. Down through Sector 3 then, 3 tenths up at the moment, so we are finding more and more pace anyway around the rest of the lap, as, yeah, luckily no dirty air from Daniel Ricciardo this time round. Make sure we don't do a Latifi again, and now we should just watch the Delta fly up as we head through the final couple of turns. This should be us into Q3 then, hopefully not too dramatic there. 1.2 seconds up, that's going to be a 21.9, and that's P3 at the end of Q2. And there we go then, having a look at the final Q2 results there. Valtteri Bottas, championship leader, a little comfortable at the front of the grid there, but 3 of us separated by 11 thousandths of a second at the end of Q2. Hamilton's still a long way off the pace where we'd want him to be, of course, if we want to try and win this Constructors' Championship as well. But let's get into it. Final qualifying session then here from Abu Dhabi. We need to get a lap hooked up. Our first few cars then coming to finish off their first runs here in Q3, but we are going to need 2 laps of sweat mode if we want to try and get this car nailed in to a lap around the Yas Marina. We've just got to put it all on the line and see if we can try and get the jump on Bottas. Race pace has often still been better than qualifying trim this year, especially for myself. We are not a qualifier on F1 22. The AI just need to be able to find just that bit extra on a qualifying run, but I do genuinely believe we've got some good pace here, and we could still be on for pole position, unless Hamilton, of course, does an absolute flyer on these final runs. So I knew, of course, Valtteri Bottas' teammate just holding me up a little bit as we head through the final few corners of the lap, not really doing us any favours. So yeah, we should be on the radio to the FIA about that, but around in the final corner we'll go up towards the line. 21.5, only P4. So clearly the times are rapidly improving then in this final qualifying session. That felt pretty hooked up. And here we are then, about to start what is quite possibly the most important qualifying lap of our Formula 1 career to date. Valtteri Bottas a 10th faster than me at the moment, and there's still Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen between us. We have got to nail this run at the end of qualifying. We have got to put this thing on pole. It's all over. It's all over. Just got too confident over the curbs there, trying to chase back the time. And, well, fingers crossed this isn't a metaphor for what's going to go on for the rest of the weekend, or foreshadowing. We'll see if we can try and see if we have the pace anyway in the car through these final couple of corners. If we can get it back under a second, the delta, then we definitely had enough to try and put this thing on the front of the field. But it looks like Bottas has done enough on Saturday night here in Abu Dhabi. He is going to be starting from the pole for the final race of the year. His first pole, and actually, well, no, it was last weekend in Brazil, wasn't it? Through the final corner. We definitely, it would have been close. It would have been close. That hurts. But we can't do a lot about it now. We just got to get into the Grand Prix itself, I suppose. There we go then. Valtteri Bottas in the hot seat here in Abu Dhabi, starting from the pole in one of the most important races of his F1 career. Of course, he knows what it's like to win a World Championship here in Abu Dhabi. Of course, managed it last year against the man that starts alongside him on the front row. Maybe Charles Leclerc will try and do me a bit of a favour this weekend. But starting from P4, it's definitely not over, but it's going to be a tall order. What can we do here tonight to try and win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? Formula 1 is finally back in 2022, and now you can rep your favourite teams. Of course, using the F1 store, every team now has merch lineups available, whether you're an Aston Martin fan, a Williams fan, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, the choice is completely up to you. But yeah, check out the F1 merch store down below for all the official releases from all of the teams. And of course, as always, if you use our links as well, you massively help support the channel. So yeah, give it a look and see if there's anything you like.
Welcome to the Yas Marina circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula 1 season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 16 corners here at Yas Marina circuit, 7 to the right and 9 to the left. It's a total lap distance of 3.28 miles, 2 long straights and overtaking opportunities throughout the lap. We expect average speeds of around 123 miles per hour. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Mr. Monaco, Esteban Ocon, and Russell, Ricciardo, Norris, Hamilton. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Felipe Drugovich, and Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Kevin Magnussen, and Daniel Ticktum. Latifi, they've taken a grid penalty. Tsunoda, Schwartzman, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
There's still a chance we can win this championship, so go out there and bring back the title.
Inspiring words there from Mark as we get ready for the final race of this season. And what a crazy season it's been, but it will all be decided here in Abu Dhabi. Valtteri Bottas, he could just, even if he let me by, he could waltz around in P3 today and he would still be crowned champion at the end of the weekend. But let's see what we can do though. One final race, one last dance in what has been probably one of the most fun and interesting career modes I think I've ever done on the F1 game as well, of course. You know, every season is unique, you know, it's got its own storylines, but I think just sort of the way this season has panned out, you know, if we look back to even sort of 5-6 races ago, it's a miracle that we're even coming into this with a chance at the World Championship, but it would be an even bigger miracle if we could walk away with a crown here tonight. Bottas starting from the pole. We need myself and Bottas to swap places today.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming up.
That's good. I mean, if we get screwed by reliability today, I think my wheel will be going out the window, but we'll see what happens. And I think it goes to show just how crazy this season has been. 6 cars from 6 different teams make up the top 6 on our starting grid tonight. That's more than half the teams in Formula 1. But, I mean, we're not going to get a good start here in Abu Dhabi, but hopefully we can try and get one that doesn't completely screw me as we see Verstappen doing some burnouts. That's reassuring. No threat of rain here in Abu Dhabi either. But yeah, we are going to try and cover off the cars behind as we head into Turn 1. We've definitely got some good race pace in this car, but we need Hamilton as well to carve his way through the field tonight if we want any chance of that Constructors' Championship. Perez down the order, Zhou Guanyu down the order as well. It really is coming down to it between the big boys at the front of the field. But let's get into it though. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, final time in Season 3. It's 5 red lights. And it is lights out, and away we go, and almost hit the anti-stall as we try and put the power down in towards someone. There, Ocon and George Russell are going to fly past me. Here goes Lando Norris up the inside, but we'll cover that one off. So we head through Turn 1 as look at Charles Leclerc immediately trying to snatch the lead of the Grand Prix. Of course, he knows that Bottas and even Verstappen to a certain degree have to play it careful as there goes Ricciardo down around the outside of us, but Bottas looks like he's hung on under huge amounts of pressure there. No, Charles Leclerc swoops around the outside of the flying fin there, and maybe he's going to be under even more pressure as Ocon and Verstappen go side by side as we head up the back straight for the first time. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo again. That Ferrari has got some good straight line speed there as Bottas is under so much pressure at the start of this Grand Prix. Both of the championship contenders are going down the order. We've got Lando Norris again trying to send it yellow flags off of the corner there. It's going to return to green flag racing once more as we head down the next straight, but both myself and Bottas so afraid to take big risk at the start here. We both have to try and keep the car clean as we'll try and swoop around the outside of Ricciardo. Looks like Bottas has come back at Verstappen, but down to P6 then off the launch for myself though. We've lost 2 places, Valtteri's only lost the 1, but Charles Leclerc already trying to set sail into the distance early on in this Grand Prix there, and if Bottas could be under some pressure from Max Verstappen behind as well, that could potentially do us some favours if the Dutchman can sneak past him early on in this Grand Prix there. Of course, if Bottas were to finish 4th, it would then come down to who gets fastest that bonus point, because we both could still try and sneak that away from each other. As now we can just see Bottas starting to stretch his legs a little bit more there up the road ahead of Max Verstappen. Of course, P3 will be enough for Bottas to be world champion today, and of course that's only if I come out with a win this evening. But are we going to be able to apply some pressure to George Russell then as we head down the back straight? Up the inside we'll look on the Mercedes. And there we go, starting to pick cars off once more here in Yas Marina. Up at a P5 off the Grand Prix, but yeah, I mean, it's a tall order. It was always going to be a tall order, but we are running on lap 2 of 29 here. Next up, Esteban Ocon, who did a phenomenal job last weekend. Definitely on my Christmas card list. Kept a lot of cars at bay. And also meant that Bottas, whether it was frustration or lack of concentration, did make an error. There we go, Bottas, new fastest lap of the day. 4/10 clear of myself. DRS, of course, now will be on Naval, as I got no idea what Ocon's doing through Turn 1. So we will swoop through then. I thought we'd probably get the DRS on him down the back straight, but no, we will complete the move before then, as Bottas now definitely back within range of Charles Leclerc. Verstappen hanging on behind the McLaren, but we are definitely not within range of the Dutchman. As you can see, Ocon really under a lot of pressure there. George Russell now trying to sneak past him, so fingers crossed this gives us a chance to break away. One of the Haas cars into the pits at the end of lap 2 as well, so not the ideal start to this finale for them. Oh, that's important. New fast lap of the day. So we start lap 5 of the Grand Prix, and yeah, just trying to make sure that we try and lock that one in. Like I said, it could make the difference this evening. Fastest lap bonus points. I think we picked up about 9 this year. Bottas about 3. So it would, you know, it's brought us 12 points back rather than 18. As now we should be within the range of the top 4 for DRS as well, and that hopefully will mean we can just rock up to them. Bottas trying to apply more pressure to Charles Leclerc. Of course, Leclerc's got nothing to gain, nothing to lose this weekend, so he may as well fight for it. As Bottas there around the outside of the Ferrari. Shades of last season, a couple of battles they had then. And will Leclerc be able to hang on off the corner? Even Max Verstappen trying to get involved in this one. So Leclerc could get Ricciardo zonted as we head down the back straight there. Bottas, I think, backs out of it. And here goes Verstappen up the inside of the flying fin there. Leclerc gets a bit of a wobble on though, and Bottas, despite looking for a second like he was on the back foot, will make the move and will now take the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And look at these 4 cars nose to tail at the front of the field there. Everyone else still squabbling behind, so they're all just dropping back. But we have got so much grip through the final few corners there. Oh, at the inside of Verstappen, no chance there. Well, the Dutchman give me any room, but Bottas, a power move to the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. That's what he needs to do. Oh, Verstappen, a little bit of a wobble then as we head out the Parabolica. We're going to be side by side with the Red Bull as we, whoa, head down into the final sector, but Max Verstappen having none of that. Just have to jump into the escape road to avoid a collision there with the Dutchman. But what worries me is Leclerc doesn't seem to have the top end speed to hound Bottas, so we could just slowly see the flying Finn try to walk away. Of course, yeah, 2 World Championships for him would be more than Kimi Räikkönen and would match the legend that is Mika Häkkinen, so I'm sure this does mean a lot to Valtteri at the moment, especially when you consider, of course, that Mika won both of those World Championships with the Woking-based outfit as well. We've got to try and make a move on Max Verstappen here. Are we going to be able to try and pull off the move he did on Hamilton? Not quite close enough that time, but again, we'll try and get a run off the corner. As you can see, Verstappen there struggling to put the power down, and now we're going to be drag racing with the Red Bull as we head up the back straight there. Just try and take a little bit of extra slipstream, but we haven't got the top end speed. You can see Verstappen there in the wheel tracks behind Charles Leclerc. Big move in the braking zone. And what is Verstappen doing there? Somehow we keep it on the island, and we will pull off the move then, and up into P3 of the Grand Prix. I haven't got DRS though. Don't quite know how that works. We were definitely within range of Charles Leclerc if we were, because we were ahead of Verstappen. But apparently not. But anyway, 3rd place is now ours. We've got to push on. Oh, Charles Leclerc getting a bit of a wobble as we head out onto the 2nd back straightaway here. He's still got the DRS off Bottas. But yeah, I think like Charles Leclerc's probably got the slowest car of the top 4 there. Just look at that, clean around the outside will go, having to make decisive moves early on in this Grand Prix, and now it is me versus our championship rival, Valtteri Bottas and myself, now 1 and 2 in this Grand Prix. But of course Bottas, he can let me by. He can let me by and just sit behind me all afternoon, and there'll be nothing we could do about it. We could try and do a Hamilton on Rosberg from 2016, but there is still a long way to try and play in this Grand Prix. Plenty can happen, plenty can unfold. So we're just going to try and play smart for now. And I think we haven't really had that many on-track battles with Valtteri Bottas this year. It has just really been a story of the bigger picture, but still trying to save a lot of battery at the moment, just so then when we get round to the pit stops we can try and jump him and either get a big undercut or a big overcut on the Finn. But as we head down the back straight, you can see we are definitely a bit more confident at the moment. But yeah, already in my mind we're starting to think back to times where points were lost. Of course, Mexico just a couple of weekends back, you know, even Brazil, of course, from that horrible qualifying session on Friday night. Of course, Canada, a mechanical failure with just a couple of laps to go. I know it was only a couple of points there, but it really could mean a lot at the end of the year. And of course, the other big one, Saudi Arabia, if you remember, all the way back to the start of the year where we just nicked the curb on the final lap of that Grand Prix there and had that collision with Max Verstappen. I mean, we were probably going to the Shadow Realm anyway. The Dutchman, to be honest, was just a bit unlucky that he got roped into it, as yeah, Max Verstappen probably has been one of, if not the unluckiest driver this season in this career mode. But just trying to hound Bottas now. We've got a full battery pack, so we can try to use deploy. Still, I think constructors-wise, we would be doing enough at the moment. Of course, that's where the big prize money is. We have got to think about that as well. You know, I think we would... Actually, it might even be McLaren would be doing enough at the moment. I've got no idea where Zhou Guanyu is in the bigger picture. I mean, we're kind of just mainly focused on the Drivers' Championship. The Constructors, of course, is very, very important nonetheless there, as Bottas now going to go to the inside. We head down the back straight, so the Finn's starting to feel a bit more pressure. Oh, parks it on the apex. Tiny bit of contact there between the pair of us, but no harm, no foul. As you can just see, Charles Leclerc waiting in the wings. Max Verstappen, that was really just falling off at the moment. As to the outside of Valtteri Bottas will look, and Bottas will say absolutely not. Let's just sit back, relax. Still got 18 laps here, as we will get a run off the corner, but Bottas again, we're just forcing him to use a bit more battery than he probably wants to. Oh, we've got yellow flags out. Someone's going slowly. Pierre Gasly, final race potentially for him at Williams, out. Of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix there, and what has been one of Williams' best campaigns of recent years. Whoa, hey! Still got to be a bit careful with this car. It's fast, but it can still trip you up. There we go, Team Honest in at the end of this one. There's all Bottas. You can just see there a bit of a mistake down at turn 1. Are we going to be able to get the run off the corner? We're going to be side by side through turn 2. And Bottas still trying to keep the nose there. This is beautiful racing between the two championship elects. But here comes Bottas and again around the outside. And you know what? We're going to try and be cheeky. We're going to do a Fernando... Come on. Going to try and do a Fernando Alonso there and make sure that we get the DRS, which we have done. So very, very cheeky then. At this stage of the Grand Prix there, will Charles Leclerc be able to try and get the draft as well? As you can see, Bottas trying to get the toe. I'm making sure that Charles Leclerc gets as much of it as possible. And go on, Charles. Need him to be working with me at the moment. There is around the outside of Bottas he'll go. And hopefully Max Verstappen can get back in the picture as well. There is Charles Leclerc back into P2 of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Team on us in now, but I'm going to try and go 2 laps longer on the strategy. We really need to push on at the moment then. And this could be critical moments of this race. There we go. Leclerc, Bottas and Verstappen all into the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton probably going to head in at the end of this lap. So we are going to have to go to the end of 15 here. But let's just drain this battery pack and try and make sure that we keep this lead. There we go. Hamilton into the pit lane. I'm really hoping he can bite the bit between his teeth and get up towards the front runners late on in the day, because he could be absolutely essential in this championship battle as well. Of course, we just need anyone to get between myself and Bottas by the end of this Grand Prix. There is Charles Leclerc. He's hanging on ahead of him. Looks like Verstappen is right there as well. So Hamilton is going to re-emerge in P5. Of course, this car is still very, very fast, so maybe, just maybe, he can get closer to that gaggle by the end, but getting close is pointless if he can't get through. I'm pretty certain we actually head into this Grand Prix with the identical scenario in terms of points as Hamilton-Rosberg back in 2016. If I'm not mistaken, they came into Abu Dhabi with a 12-point gap, and the car behind definitely faster than the car in front. That's going to tilt Jamie. That me saying Hamilton's quicker than Rosberg, but yeah, gaps to those cars behind just starting to come down a little bit. So it is going to be interesting to see whether we re-emerge in the lead of the Grand Prix. But of course, we are going to have quicker tyres, or fresher tyres, sorry, even I should say, to the end of this Grand Prix. But yeah, Hamilton's going to be a good 8 seconds back behind those cars as into the pit lane we come. We've done pretty well on this first hit just to extend the tyres a little bit. Make sure we just about get them slowed down. May as well turn them into 50 pence pieces as we head into the pit lane as well. But it's often in Sector 3 that we're quicker than the AI. Let's hope we're quicker out of the pit lane as well. There, of course, don't want to do anything stupid on that pit lane exit. Bolton on a set of hard compound tyres to see us to the checkered flag. 2.4 is not bad going. As we head out of the pit lane, then just got to be super careful as Verstappen, new fastest lap of the day. And here comes Charles Leclerc. Of course, got to be really careful on the cold tyres. Absolutely steaming under the Abu Dhabi sunset. But we are going to re-emerge then in the lead, but only half a second clear of Charles Leclerc. So we might be under some pressure as we head up the back straight there, because of course we just aren't going to have the temperature in these tyres just yet. Is Charles Leclerc going to be able to come back at me? Luckily we've still got a fair bit of battery to try and defend ourselves, but here comes the Scarlet Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Is he going to be able to make the move? He's going to look for it into the braking zone, and we've just got nothing that we can do against him at the moment, and Charles Leclerc will re-emerge then into the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now though, we're starting to build up some tyre temperature, able to pretty much match the Ferrari off the corner. So let's see if we can try and come straight back at him though as we head up the back straight in towards the hairpin. Going to run very, very wide on the way in. Whoa! Charles Leclerc there swings out. I think we kind of met in the middle to a certain degree, so we're going to have to jump once more to the escape road, but lucky not to pick up any front wing damage in that moment. And now we've got 13 laps to go. Bottas still doing enough in P3, irrespective of where I finish in this Grand Prix. But if Leclerc and I can break away, maybe Verstappen with some DRS can try and get the jump on him. We might just have to start playing a bit careful here. We might have to try and back Bottas up and then try and bolt away from him and apply pressure to Charles Leclerc once more. There's so many mind games that are coming into this. 12 laps to go, and now Hamilton going even faster in P5. Could he close up the gap by the end of the race? Bottas has got a fantastic drive off of the hairpin there, so he's going to try and look to the inside, but this is now Well, we cannot give up on this battle with the flying Finn, and we've just got to try and hold him up a little bit. See if we can break Leclerc at the DRS range, as I think we're not going to pick up the DRS off the corner, but we will slot in very, very aggressively. Here comes Max Verstappen as well. Is the Dutchman going to be able to get the run on the pair of us? He's going to have a look to the inside of Bottas. In towards the hairpin there, and Bottas having none of it. The Dutchman will once again have to slot back in. And we're going to get the inside off the corner as well, but Charles Leclerc now has broken free. Max Verstappen trying to look around the outside of myself. We'll give him the same treatment as he did to us earlier on, and all this is doing is helping Hamilton close in a bit more as well, so having to really pull out every trick in the book at the moment to try and give ourselves any fighting chance. But now, of course, if we do get back past Bottas, we've somehow got to find a way to break the 1 second barrier before we get back to Leclerc. 12 to go here in Yas Marina. This is still anybody's race. Look at that, because we've just got so much more grip through this final sector there. We are once again running quite high wings, trying to make sure we get that gap opened up to a second over Valtteri Bottas, and he's going to be mighty close. There we go, 1 second. We just have to nail these first couple of corners there, as that is not the line through turn 1 there. Had to just hop over the curbing, over the white line there, but fingers crossed we're going to have to use battery as we head down the hill. Make sure that we've got Bottas out of the range. Is he going to be within range? I don't think he is. I think we might just about done enough here to make sure that Bottas is forced back there, and he could be under big pressure from Max Verstappen late on in the Grand Prix. Hamilton, of course, is still gaining on all of these cars. We're trying to pull off a miracle in Abu Dhabi, but now we need to get back to Leclerc and hope that we can navigate him without costing either of us any time. A lot has got to fall into place still here in Dubai, but we're going to try. Oh, there we go, new fastest lap as well. Just got to do and try and score every point we can. Hamilton there, less than 4 seconds back behind Verstappen. He's got 9 laps to try and not only get to Verstappen, but jump him and Bottas if the Dutchman can't get round the McLaren. And now 8 to go. We are all over the back of Charles Leclerc once more in this Grand Prix, but like I said, we need to try and work a way that we can get round him without costing Charles any time at all, and that might be exactly what we need to do. DRS past there, plenty of battery usage. That Ferrari has not slowed down the straights. We'll give him room into the corner, but even if we drag him along to the checkered flag, this could be quite handy there, as Charles Leclerc has now been navigated. We are now back into the lead of the Grand Prix. If it were to finish like this, we still, though, would lose the title by 1 point to Valtteri Bottas, so Verstappen has to do something. Is the Dutchman on Team 212, or is he on Team McLaren this weekend? We just don't know. There we go, another new fast lap of the day. Only by a few hundredths of a second if I'm not mistaken, but Charles Leclerc, they're already dipping out of the 1 second zone, so we are mega through that final sector. But yeah, Hamilton, 3 seconds now behind Verstappen. He is closing in a fair old chunk of time, but is it enough? There are so many questions still. I've never had a race like this before on F1, where we're in a championship fight and I've got no idea who is looking like they could take the crown there. Bottas still seems to have enough over the Dutchman down the straights, but could it be that he's using a bit more battery and then could be left vulnerable right at the end of the Grand Prix? Max Verstappen gets within 3/10 of him, gets within 1/10 of him by the end of the straight that time round, but still can't do it. Oh, we got more yellow flags out. And the Alpha Tower is now going slowly. Is it Tsunoda? Is it Oscar Piastri? It's already their former driver has retired from this Grand Prix. Could we potentially see a late race safety car? Never seen that before in Abu Dhabi, have we? That's never caused any issues. Still, they refuse to give up just yet, whichever car it is. Is he going to break down the same place as the Williams? No, he's not, but he is at Latifi's corner. Yeah, the flashbacks are coming in, I won't lie, late on in this Grand Prix, though. They're still not giving up, though. I wonder if they have actually broken down or they've just lost a wing and trying to get back to the pit lane here, but just over 5 laps to go in Abu Dhabi, and we are still doing everything we can, but so is Valtteri Bottas further behind. He's keeping the Dutchman at bay. Hamilton is now under 2 seconds back, though, behind the pair of them, and it looks like, yeah, whichever AlphaTauri it was, has been able to limp back to the pit lane. They are probably now about to go a lap down, so we should be able to see in a second who it is anyway. Yeah, they must have just lost their front wing battling another car or something like that. So we head over the start-finish line, though. We are keeping Leclerc at bay, as that is Yuki Tsunoda, who had issues then. 5 laps to go here in Abu Dhabi, and Bottas is withstanding so much pressure, but the important thing is he is withstanding it. Why tell me that, Mark, late on in the day? We've got so much to think about at the moment in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and you're telling me little nuggets of information like that. 4 more to go. Hamilton is now inside the range of Verstappen and Bottas. Can our teammate potentially be the miracle worker that we need late on in this final race? Will he help out his current teammate or his former? I just don't know what's going to happen in the final few laps here in Abu Dhabi, but we are still praying on a miracle. Surely you want a bit of redemption against Max Verstappen for what happened last year in real life, of course. In this career mode, Bottas is only defending from 7 World Championships. Of course, Max Verstappen is still yet to be crowned F1 World Champion in this hypothetical universe, but the Dutchman getting closer and closer to Bottas every single time they head down the back straight, and then seems to end up on the back foot off the corner. Yuki Tsunoda is still hanging close as well there. Maybe Hamilton getting a little bit frustrated about the AlphaTauri filling up his mirrors, but still, none of them can find a way around Bottas here. The gap comes down to 2/10 of a second, between the Flying Finn and the Dutchman behind him. But Bottas and that McLaren are doing enough against a Red Bull car that still leads the Constructors' Championship. Of course, they might need to get past Bottas anyway to make sure they hang on in the Constructors' Championship. You know, those 3 points could be critical for Red Bull, as critical as they are for myself. 2 laps to go in Abu Dhabi, and it's just not looking like we're going to get our way. It doesn't happen often on F1 22, and in fact, to be honest, I think in any F1 game I've ever been in, I don't genuinely believe we've finished runner-up in a World Championship. But you know what? Tonight, it might just happen. We came into this one on the back foot. We knew we were an outside shot of the World Championship, but honestly, there was still a part of me that wanted to believe here, as Bottas still under pressure from Max Verstappen behind him, but still doing enough down the back straights every single time they come through. Verstappen gets too close down this first straight, and then can't do anything down the second, of course, because he kind of trips over himself just a little bit. Bottas again will just allow him to roll up to the gearbox of that McLaren, and then will out-traction him off the corner and just open up the gap a bit more. And Hamilton behind, he just can't do anything. Stuck in the DRS train. We're keeping Charles Leclerc at arm's length through these final couple of laps here. But Bottas, I don't want to say it too soon still, he has just got 1.5 more tours around this Abu Dhabi circuit, and just like Nico Rosberg in 2016. Oh, we got yellow flags out. No! Hamilton, in his final ever Formula 1 Grand Prix, out here in Abu Dhabi, and that might cost us a shot at the Constructors' Championship as well. If Hamilton finished P5 and everyone else was in the order they were in, that would have been that done. We would have had the Constructors' Championship wrapped up, and I think with that, that might cost us both world titles. Bottas is still doing enough against the Dutchman, but Abu Dhabi is becoming more and more controversial by the second there. What a disappointing end to the illustrious career of Lewis Hamilton, retiring from his final Formula 1 Grand Prix with just a lap to go here in Abu Dhabi, and we might be about to finish runner-up in both championships because of it. Bottas, can Max Verstappen do enough to get past the McLaren on the final lap of this Grand Prix? We're just using the last of our battery here, and it doesn't look like Verstappen's got enough. The Dutchman is not taking enough time out of Valtteri Bottas. Maybe he's saved a bit of battery over these last couple of laps to make sure he's got enough if the Red Bull was going to go full send behind him, but it's only going to be down into this next corner, and Verstappen is 8/10 back behind Valtteri Bottas here. Into the final sector we go of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix once again. It is going to deliver a title decider, but like I said, I don't think I've ever been in this position before in an F1 game. Track is clear. That's obviously Hamilton's car being removed from the circuit, and round in the final couple of corners, I think we're going to finish runner-up in both World Championships here tonight. Through the final couple of turns we go in Abu Dhabi. We've done everything we could. We are going to get the win, but it's not going to be enough. 1 point in it. Bottas is a 2-time world champion.
Look, we've missed out on the title, and I know you're disappointed, but you've done a fantastic job this season. Really fantastic. We'll come back next year and go one better.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. Victory today then, but bittersweet emotions, I'm sure, as the championship slips through their fingers. Even so, what a fantastic final race of the season this was. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way onto the podium now. This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Nicholas Latifi gets my vote today.
Nothing can challenge the leaders in the Constructors' Championship at this point. And it's another title in the bag for Red Bull after a long and hard-fought season. They've built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Cannot believe it. At the end of the year, even if we walked away with the Constructors' Championship, it would have felt like a bit of a consolation prize. But Hamilton, in his last ever Formula One Grand Prix, mechanical failure with a lap to go, that cost us in both of the championships there. I don't think he was going to get past Max Verstappen and Bottas on that final lap, but there was still just a little part of me that believed there in the end. And I mean, like I said, we gave it everything we could today. We took the race victory, we got the fastest lap, we got the full 26 points, we had to rely on a miracle from Bottas. And you know what? Fair play to the Flying Finn, he's done enough. He jumps Kimi Räikkönen and Keke Rosberg. He's now matching Mika Hakkinen with 2 World Championships there, of course, both of them winning those titles for McLaren. But yeah, we walk away with a win ahead of Charles Leclerc and Bottas there. Verstappen ahead of Russell. Perez recovered to P6 there from 12th on the grid, which did give Red Bull the extra points that they needed come the checkered flag. Ricciardo, Zhou Guanyu, Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon rounding out our point scorers there. And Latifi, I don't know how Latifi got driver of the day, didn't even score points in a Merc once again there. Hamilton does get classified 2 laps down. I'm not sure I want to look at these championship standings, but I know I'm going to have to. 1 point. 1 point was the difference at the end of the year there. Charles Leclerc did get the jump on Max Verstappen, though, for P4 overall in the championship, but that one does, yeah, really hurt. And like I said, you know, you can point fingers back to Mexico. You could point fingers to Brazil qualifying, even if we'd just done one better in the sprint race that weekend. You know, if we'd had a better qualifying slot, that could have made the difference. Canada. Even that 1 point at Canada that we lost with a mechanical failure cost us. Or, of course, Saudi Arabia right back at the start of the year. But that's Formula 1 at the end of the day, and not a lot we can do about it now when all is said and done there. K-Mag jumps Drogovic, Stroll jumps Ticktum and Schwartzman in the Constructors' Championship after this weekend as well there, which should mean I think Aston Martin have done enough on count-back. Constructors-wise, though, 4 points in that battle as well. So, yep, the points Hamilton would have scored would, of course, given us about 10. Red Bull would have lost 2, so we would have done enough there for the Constructors' Championship as well. And yeah, Aston Martin do move their way further up the order, but that is so painful to lose both championships by less than 5 points. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but we will come back stronger in Season 4 of this career mode as well. So yeah, make sure you get yourselves subscribed for that. But there we go, the end of Season 3 of our My Team career mode. It's not quite what we wanted, but like I said, Season 4, we're going to do everything within our power to make sure it's our championship. Thank you all so much for watching and sticking around nonetheless. You know, like I said, that's racing at the end of the day. You don't see any scripts here. What happens, happens. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon. back probably in Bahrain for Season 4 of the My Team Career Mode. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.